Welcome back. We're on The Boss with Mr. Jamal Khan, the CEO of Arpatech. Jamal, the US-based companies are looking at companies in anywhere in the world in terms of their headcount and how many employees work for you. Has it been the case for you also, sort of managing out a company in Pakistan?
It clearly could have been the case had we approached the market in a certain way. Our approach was very different. One, we weren't chasing projects. A lot of smart sourcing companies tend to chase projects. We've invested in relationships. So we went and said, okay, let's identify 5 strategic partners, either sort of interface directly with the top management or report directly into the board of the organization, and work with them and increase our footprint, and sort of take on a few projects to begin with, and then over time make them so dependent on us that they give us a large portion of their engineering budget and things of that sort. So those strategic relationships never became or sort of helped us in addressing some of those concerns that people might have, that you're not CMM level 5 company, or you don't have 1,000 people like Wipro and 10,000 people.
You're a certified ISO 9000 company.
That stuff is irrelevant. At the end of the day, people need to work on relationships. And we tend to sometimes focus too much on the tangential elements, which are important. I don't want to sort of minimize those. But we sort of focused in on our relationships, because you're going to have issues in Pakistan, especially on the geopolitical front. There's some issue, a curfew strike, something along those lines. And if you don't have those strategic relationships, those really intimate relationships, there's a strong likelihood that you'll have cyclical trends. Customers will say, I'm staying here, but oh my God, I'm watching CNN, and the country's about to go up in flames, and that's never the case. The reality is far different from the perception that the media sort of unfortunately projects of Pakistan. So you need to have those intimate relationships where you can tie those over, and I think we've done that pretty effectively.
As an ambassador for Pakistan in the US, whenever you go back and you meet sort of thousands of people while you're there, what kind of image do you think we're portraying in the US or anywhere in Europe or somewhere? And how do people feel about the country?
Right. So unfortunately, we're not portraying the image. There's the media at the end of the day portrays the image, and the image is pretty negative. One of the biggest impediments to our industries is our inability to take our resources out of the country and build those relationships. The reason why India is so successful is that in sort of the Y2K process, they managed to bring on thousands of their resources into Western countries, and those folks stayed back and built those relationships, and they became managers of IT, and then became heads of IT, and then they managed to leverage those key positions and establish relationships back. So it's very much a relationships game than anything else. Our inability to do that, and that has happened across the board. We've had an individual that we wanted to send to Netherlands to our strategic partner, and were unable to procure a visa for him. Perfectly well-suited gentleman, really technically capable, but for the flimsiest of reasons, those visas could not be procured. That is what will hurt us over the long run. And I think, if anything, the government needs to focus on that particular area in terms of talking to certain key Western countries and say, let's build some sort of a process that allows our resources to work more effectively in those regions.
Jamal, we'll talk about the future planning of Arpatech. How do you see the company growing as a company? But we'll just get back on a break. We're talking to Mr. Jamal Khan, the CEO of Arpatech. We'll be right back to the short break. Stay with us.